For decades, you have been a peaceful landscape for others to inhabit. A quiet mountain, stable and dependable. But have you ever felt, in the silent moments, a tremor from deep within? A fire that has been buried for a lifetime, beginning to demand its own sky. That fire is not destruction. It is your life force. It is your desire. And it is whispering a phrase that is both terrifying and sacred. It's my turn. In this video, we will not extinguish that fire. We will learn to befriend it. With the guidance of Carl Jung, we will explore why this desire comes with so much guilt and how to transform it into your greatest power. Let's call her Karen, 58 years old. Her children have grown and gone. For the first time in years, she has a Saturday afternoon all to herself, a vast, empty space. A simple desire arises to drive to the ocean alone. But instantly, a wave of guilt crashes over her. I should call my aging mother. I should clean the house. The desire and the guilt wage a silent, violent war, and in the end, she does nothing. Paralyzed, empty. Why can such a simple desire create such a ferocious inner battle? Where does this guilt come from? And is there a path to finally claim your own life without burning everything else to the ground?
Karen's inner battle, that war between a simple desire and a crushing guilt, is not a personal failing. It is the inevitable result of a lifetime of conditioning. Let us call this what it is, the shadow of guilt. This guilt is not a natural emotion. It is not an inherent part of being a woman. It is a programmed response, a piece of cultural software installed in you from a very young age. For your generation of women in America, a powerful equation was written into your soul. Good woman equals self-sacrifice. You were taught that your value was measured by your capacity to care for others. To be a good daughter, a good wife, a good mother, you had to learn the art of erasure. You learned to erase your own needs, to make them smaller, quieter, less inconvenient. You became a master at anticipating the needs of everyone around you, except for one person, yourself. And society praised you for this. It called you selfless. It called you strong. And so, any act of prioritizing yourself, any whisper of a personal desire that did not serve the collective, was automatically, unconsciously labeled selfish. And selfish felt like the worst thing a woman could be. It felt dangerous. It felt like a betrayal. This is the root of the guilt. It is the old software running in the background of your mind, still trying to enforce the old rules. And this is where Carl Jung's wisdom offers not just an explanation, but a profound liberation. Jung understood that the human journey is a story in two parts. The first half of life is about building your ego, your persona. It is about finding your place in the world, serving the collective, building a family, a career. In this half, self-sacrifice is often a necessary and noble act. But the second half of life has a different sacred task. It is no longer about building your role in the world. It is about discovering and living your authentic self. This journey inward, this quest for wholeness, Jung called individuation, and the desire you feel, that voice that whispers, "It's my turn," is not selfishness. Let me say that again. It is not a moral failing. It is the call of individuation. It is a developmental milestone of the soul, as natural and necessary as a child learning to walk. It is the signal that your primary task is shifting from serving the world outside to finally tending to the world within. This is the most powerful reframe you can make. Your desire is not a problem to be solved. It is a curriculum to be followed. It is your soul's agenda for the second half of your life. So what about that intense, painful guilt? If the desire is so natural, why does the guilt feel so real, so powerful? Because your old identity, your persona of the good woman, the caregiver, the rock, is fighting for its life. Imagine you have worn a heavy suit of armor for 50 years. It has protected you. It has defined you. Everyone knows you by the shape of this armor. Now, your soul is telling you that the war is over. It is time to take the armor off. But the armor has become fused to your skin, and taking it off is terrifying. Who will you be without it? Will anyone still love you if you are no longer the unbreakable caregiver? That guilt is the sound of the old armor groaning in protest. It is the voice of the persona, afraid of becoming obsolete, afraid of being abandoned. It is not a stop sign from the universe. It is the resistance of an old identity that is being asked to yield to a truer, more authentic self. It is a sign that you are on the right path. It is the friction that proves you are moving forward. The goal, then, is not to destroy the guilt. You cannot win a war against your own programming. The goal is to understand it, to see it not as a truth, but as a story you were told, a story you learned to survive, and a story you are now being invited to gently, lovingly rewrite.
So the path forward is not through battle. It is through observation. It is through compassionate curiosity. You do not need to slay the dragon of guilt. You simply need to turn on the lights and see that it is not a dragon at all. It is a shadow cast by an old story. The journey of healing this deep conditioning begins with a simple, powerful shift in perspective. When the wave of guilt rises, as it surely will, your first practice is to observe, not absorb. Imagine Karen, sitting in her quiet house, feeling the desire to go to the ocean. The guilt crashes in. The voice that says, you should be doing something productive. You should be caring for someone else. The old way was to become the guilt, to let it flood her system, paralyze her, and believe its story. The new way is to take one conscious step back in her own mind. She takes a breath, and she says to herself, "Ah, there it is. That is the good woman program running. That is the voice of the old armor. Interesting. Do you see the profound power in this? She is no longer the story. She is the one watching the story. She has created a tiny sacred space between her awareness and the old programming. And in that space is freedom. In that space, she can make a new choice. This is the first step. But to truly dismantle this programming, we must go deeper. We must enter into a dialogue with the shadow itself. So here is your gentle invitation, your next sacred ritual. I call it a dialogue with guilt. The next time the feeling arises, find a quiet moment, a piece of paper, and you will ask this shadow a simple, courageous question, not how do I get rid of you, but my guilt. What are you trying to protect me from? Let me say that again. What are you trying to protect me from? Because this is the deepest truth. Guilt at its core is a misguided protector. It is an old, outdated security system that still thinks you are a little girl who needs to be pleasing in order to be safe, in order to be loved. So you ask the question, and you listen. And maybe
the voice of parent's guilt would answer. It might say, I am trying to protect you from being seen as selfish, because if people think you are selfish, they will not love you, they will abandon you. It might whisper, I am trying to protect you from disappointing your mother, because if she is disappointed in you, you are a bad daughter. It might say, I am trying to protect you from being alone with your own thoughts, because if you are not busy, who are you? As you write these words, you will feel a shift. You will realize that this powerful, menacing feeling is actually the voice of a scared child. It is the voice of a very old fear. And you cannot fight a scared child. You can only offer it compassion. You can only offer it a new truth. Your job is to become the wise, loving adult in the room of your own mind. You can look at that fear and you can say, thank you. I see you are trying to keep me safe. I understand why you are afraid, but I am 58 years old now. I am no longer a child who needs everyone's approval to survive. My worth is not based on my productivity. My lovability is not conditional on my service. I can go to the ocean for an afternoon, and I will still be a good daughter. I will still be loved. I am safe now. This is the alchemy of integration. You are not killing the guilt. You are updating its software. You are taking its hand and gently, lovingly leading it out of the past and into the present. You are rewriting the story. With every act of observation, with every compassionate dialogue, the guilt loses its power. It does not vanish, but it transforms. From a paralyzing tyrant, it becomes a gentle, quiet echo, a faint reminder of an old story you no longer believe. And in the space where that tyranny once lived, something new can finally begin to grow. A quiet sense of sovereignty, a gentle, radical permission to simply be.
As the voice of guilt begins to soften, from a roar to a whisper, a new space opens up inside of you. A quiet field waiting to be planted. This is the space where your own desires can finally take root. But how do we begin? How do we practice this new way of being? The first step is to understand a vital distinction, the difference between destructive selfishness and sacred self-sovereignty. Destructive selfishness is the act of a wounded ego. It is rooted in scarcity. It believes that for me to have more, you must have less. It takes, it depletes, it harms others to serve the self. This is what we have been taught to fear. But sacred self-sovereignty is an act of the soul. It is rooted in abundance. It believes that my cup must be full so that my overflow can genuinely nourish others. It does not take from anyone. It simply stops allowing others to endlessly take from it. It reclaims, it preserves, it honors the self as a sacred vessel. Your journey in the second half of life is to move from the fear of being selfish to the practice of being sovereign. It is the understanding that prioritizing yourself does not mean you stop loving others. It means you are finally, courageously, including yourself in the circle of your own care. For 50 years, your love and energy have flowed outward like a great river nourishing a vast landscape. Sacred self-sovereignty is not about damming the river. It is about learning to divert a small, gentle stream back to your own inner garden first. So, how do we do this in the real world? This is not about grand, dramatic acts of rebellion. This is not about quitting your job or leaving your family. The soul does not work that way. The soul works in whispers, in small, consistent, courageous acts. I call these acts of sovereignty. These are the small choices you make each day
that send a powerful message to your own nervous system. A message that says, I am here, my needs matter, my energy is precious. Let's go back to Karen on her quiet Saturday afternoon. The guilt is there, but it is quieter now. She has observed it, she understands its fear, and now she chooses. She doesn't get in the car and drive 3 hours to the ocean. That feels too big, too rebellious. Instead, she walks out onto her own back porch with a cup of tea. She leaves her phone inside, and for 15 minutes, she does nothing. She just sits. She feels the sun on her face. She listens to the birds. This is an act of sovereignty. It is a small, radical declaration that her peace is more important than her productivity. It is a quiet moment of reclaiming her own time, her own space, her own being. And it costs nothing. It harms no one, but it changes everything. Your journey begins here, not with a revolution, but with a quiet reclamation. Your invitation this week, your gentle, non-intimidating practice, is to perform one small act of sovereignty. Maybe it is buying the expensive coffee just because you love the taste. Maybe it is sitting in their car for 5 extra minutes in silence after you get home from work, before you walk into the chaos. Maybe it is saying no to a small request that would drain you. Maybe it is finally reading that chapter of the book that has been on your nightstand for a year. One small act that is purely for you, an act that has no other purpose than to nourish your own soul, an act that requires no one else's permission. This will feel uncomfortable at first. The old guilt software will try to run. That's okay. Your job is to simply notice it and do it anyway. With each small act, you are building a new muscle, the muscle of self-worth. You are casting a vote for yourself. You are teaching your psyche, cell by cell, that you are worthy of your own care. This is not a race. It is a gentle, unfolding process. It is the journey from being the eternal caregiver for everyone else to becoming the wise and loving guardian of your own inner world. And in doing so, you do not become less loving to others. You become more, because you are finally learning to give from the overflow of your own full cup.
We began this journey with a fire stirring in a dormant mountain, a long-overdue desire, whispering a sacred and terrifying phrase, "It's my turn." We walked into the heart of the inner battle, the conflict between this powerful desire and the shadow of guilt. With the wisdom of Carl Jung as our guide, we came to understand this desire is not a selfish impulse. It is the soul's natural, necessary call to individuation, the sacred task of the second half of life. We learned that the guilt we feel is not a universal truth. It is the ghost of an old program, the protest of an old identity that is being asked to make way for a truer self. We learned not to fight this ghost, but to have a dialogue with it, to understand its fear, and to gently, lovingly update its story. And we discovered the path forward, not through a great rebellion, but through small, quiet, courageous acts of sovereignty. The simple, sacred practice of including yourself in your own circle of care. This is the harvest of our work today, the profound understanding that you can be both a loving person and a person who loves herself. You can be both a caregiver to others and the guardian of your own energy. You do not have to choose, you only have to expand. And so the fire within you is no longer a threat. It is not a destructive force that will burn your life down. It is your inner sun, the source of your warmth,
your light, and your life force. Your job is not to extinguish it. It is simply to learn to stand in its warmth and allow it to illuminate your path. This is the great permission slip of midlife. The permission to stop performing a role and to start living a life, your life. And so, as a declaration of this new permission, a gentle anchor for this courageous beginning, I invite you to go to the comments below and simply write the words, "It is my turn." Let this be a witness to your own soul, a quiet, powerful statement that you are ready to begin. But as you start this journey, as you begin to listen to the whispers of your own desire, you may notice something profound. Your body has been speaking to you all along. The tension in your shoulders, the ache in your lower back, the chronic fatigue that sleep never seems to fix. These are not random malfunctions. They are physical symptoms of unspoken truths. They are the language of a soul whose needs have been ignored for too long. Learning to decode this language, to understand the wisdom held within your own body, is the next essential step on this path of healing. And that is the sacred territory we will explore together in our next video. Until then, be gentle with yourself and listen for the whispers. Your turn has already begun.